You ever see someone so sure they're above the rules, so wrapped up in their little world of power and politics that they mistake other people's patience for permission? Yeah, that's how I met Karen. Or, should I say, that's how her $80,000 SUV met my still reinforced patience. And lost. Let me back up a sec. I'd moved into this quiet suburban townhouse complex a few years ago, looking for peace, maybe some normalcy after a decade designing defense systems for contractors who didn't blink twice at words like tactical or retractable. I picked the corner unit for one very specific reason: a city-certified emergency access lane ran directly behind it. And when you've seen what can happen when emergency crews lose even 30 seconds of response time, you don't mess around. That lane wasn't a driveway. It wasn't a shortcut. It was an unflinching line between safe and sorry. For 2.5 years, not a single soul parked there. Not once. Then she moved in. Karen. High ponytail, country club swagger, yoga mat always in tow, the kind of woman who calls herself spiritual but files noise complaints about birds chirping too loud. Her moving truck blocked the fire lane for 3 hours on day one. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, handed her a laminated copy of the emergency access rules, pointed to the "No parking, emergency vehicles only" sign painted on the pavement the size of a small mattress. She smiled, said, "Sure, no problem," and walked back inside like I'd handed her a flyer for pizza coupons. 3 days later, her SUV was parked right across the exit again. I knocked, polite as I could manage. She opened the door, looked me dead in the face, and said, "I was unloading groceries." Relax. It's not like anyone died. It was her favorite line. No one's dying back here. She said it with the kind of condescension that floats on essential oils and HOA clout. She'd just been elected vice president of the board, by the way, handed out flyers like they were subpoenas, talked about lawn uniformity, tried banning satellite dishes and front-facing garden gnomes. One guy got cited for having an American flag too faded for her taste. I wish I were kidding. Anyway, the SUV appearances became regular groceries, yoga bags, brunch supplies, whatever excuse she cooked up. I left notes. I cited city code. I even walked her through the actual permit I'd hung on my garage wall. She called it overkill. Then the HOA scheduled a fire drill and actual coordinated practice with the fire department, alarms, engine, everything. When the truck came barreling around the complex and tried to access the rear lane, you guessed it, Karen's luxury tank was sitting right in the middle. The crew had to run hoses around 2 buildings, costing them minutes they didn't have. She watched the whole thing happen from her patio, sipping lemonade like she was at a garden party. Said, "Well, maybe next time they use the front gate." The next morning, I got a visit from Chief Mendoza. Small guy, big mustache, zero tolerance. He handed me a letter that basically said, "If this lane stays blocked and someone dies, that's blood on your hands. Recommend installing deterrents, retractable if possible." He didn't have to say it twice. I dusted off a design I drafted years ago, a hydraulic Bollard system, heavy-duty stainless steel, programmable, city legal. Took me a week to get permits, 4 days to install. It retracted flush into the ground, completely invisible until activated. Sleek, silent, swift. You press a button, it rises in 3 seconds, and God help whatever's packed on top of it. The day contractors came to dig the trench, Karen came storming out in flip-flops and a rage visor. "You can't dig without HOA approval." I showed her the permits, explained the system. She narrowed her eyes and said, "What if someone parks there and gets impaled? That's a lawsuit waiting to happen." I smiled and said, "Then maybe they shouldn't park where they're not supposed to." Later that week, I got cited by the HOA. Tall grass. Noise. Unauthorized surveillance equipment. I'd had the same cameras up for 2 years. Every complaint. Filed by Karen. What she didn't know was, I documented everything. Every time she blocked the lane, every fire drill route, every note she crumpled and tossed. Time-stamped video. Photos. Copies of HOA regulations. I submitted it all to the city along with the fire department's official recommendation. Their response was short, proceed as planned. So I did. And here's where it gets beautiful. Saturday. HOA mixer. Whole neighborhood's out cookies, lemonade, awkward conversation. Karen struts over, parks her SUV right on the emergency exit like she's claiming land for queen entitlement. Locks it. Walks off. I watch from my patio, finish my coffee, walk inside, grab my phone. Press. The Bollard rises. You ever hear a luxury SUV meet a 6-inch steel piston moving at 10 inches per second? There's a crunch, a groan, then this squeal like a rich person's wallet snapping shut in pain. The undercarriage lifted a few inches, fluid gushing, frame twisted like a pretzel. Karen's scream cut through the cul-de-sac like a chainsaw. She ran toward the car like it was a child pinned under a school bus. You vandalized me. You criminal. You pay for this. Police showed up. I showed permits. Footage. City documentation. The officer squinted at the Bollard and said, "Huh. That's probably the most legit piece of hardware I've ever seen in a driveway." They didn't arrest me. They towed her car. Karen tried to rally the HOA to take legal action. The board voted unanimously not to. Turns out, being an insufferable tyrant doesn't win you a lot of sympathy when your Range Rover's doing the splits. And just when I thought it was over twist time. One night, a thunderstorm knocks out power to half the block. Transformer blows, lights go out, alarms blaring. I hear shouting, smoke coming from a unit 2 rows down. Sirens wailing, fire truck swings around the corner and heads straight for the emergency exit. This time, no SUV in the way. The Bollard drops. Truck rolls in clean. Firefighters get to the scene in seconds. Pull a toddler and her mom from a smoke-filled room. They're okay. Shaken, but safe. I stood there in the rain, soaked to the bone, just watching. Heart pounding. Then I hear someone behind me. Karen. No clipboard. No fury. Just quiet. She says, I was wrong. About the lane. About all of it. And in her hands, a Tupperware container. Cupcakes. Store-bought. Badly frosted. I didn't say anything. Just took the box, nodded, and went inside. A week later, the HOA voted to keep the Bollard as permanent infrastructure. The community. Different now. Kids play again. People wave. The lane stays clear. And Karen. She still lives there. Still a little sour, still a little dramatic. But she parks where she's supposed to. Funny how a 6-inch cylinder of steel did what 100 meetings couldn't make people remember that rules don't exist to control you. They exist to protect you. So now I ask you, what would you have done? Was I too extreme? Or was this exactly what needed to happen? Let me know in the comments.